Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, the 5th day of June. Here we go. I'm going to tell you about a custom now that you might not see in your shul, but it's still interesting for you to know, and there is a law that you need to know along with this. Here goes. Some shuls actually have a custom that they bring into the shul some beautiful smelling grasses, and the grasses are spread around through the congregation, and people sniff on them and make a special bracha for the beautiful smell of the grasses. Now, if those are, you're certainly not allowed to uproot them before on Yontif. On Yontif, you're not allowed to. But obviously, these would be prepared before Yontif, and they are not muktzah because they've been prepared for this reason. And sniffing on them and making a bracha for the sniffing would be totally appropriate. However, wait, before that, let me just tell you the reason, so it doesn't sound so weird. The reason is because the Torah tells us how Har Sinai, the mountain upon which the Torah was given, was surrounded all around by grass. And in order to commemorate that, what people do is they smell the grasses during shul. But here's where the halacha consideration comes in, and that is, if you're passing these around during davening, there are certain points in davening where you're not allowed to do this, and that's because it would be considered a break in the davening to stop and make a bracha over something, even if it is for this mitzvah purpose. Like, for example, if you're anywhere after Baruch She'amar, where you've begun a bracha, all the way through the end of Shmona Esrei and the Kaddish after Shmona Esrei, where you're not allowed to speak or interrupt by doing other things, you would not be allowed at that point to interrupt making this bracha. Also, just like you're not allowed to speak at those points because you're in the middle of a set bracha, you're also not allowed to be making a bracha on sniffing items during that time either. You could do other things, like if you heard a Kaddish, you could answer Amen to that. But if you hear a bracha, or you want to make a bracha over sniffing some grass, that would not be considered appropriate at that time. So you'd have to do it before Baruch She'amar or later in the davening when it isn't interrupting in a spot where you're not allowed to. And if you don't have this custom, that's fine too. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.